Hello, everyone. Welcome in to the Men in Orange and Black. It is the podcast for the sane Flyers fan. You may be wondering, why am I doing the talking initially? Well, we heard some of the things you said about the podcast, and some of which were true under that fiend, Matt Craig. On the other hand, he had a tremendous singing voice. He's dead now. But oh no! Wait, actually, there he is.
Well, wait,
hey, Matt.
Hey, Steve.
Hey,
what's
Matt.
going
How
on?
are you?
I do
I
have
didn't see you there.
I do have a tremendous singing voice, but unfortunately, I'm not dead. For our listeners, I'm still alive, breathing. Thank God.
All right.
Knock on wood.
Yeah.
So
There we go. Knock on wood.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Matt and I have decided to switch roles for this season, so seeing how it works out, see how things go. Hey, we haven't been in this studio since the end of the Flyers regular season. How are things?
Things are good, man. It's funny. It's like, you go through a whole season. It was tough, but we did have a rooting interest in the Florida Panthers because we live through Sergei Bobrovsky, who, quite honestly, Steve, I think he's going to be a Hall of Famer. I don't know whether it's
at this point,
first, second, third ballot, doesn't matter to me. He's in Toronto. He'll be in the Hockey Hall of Fame for sure, the way he's going. But we're living by
Toronto.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Another choke job. Love it. That was fantastic to see. But man, congrats to the Florida Panthers, what they did. That was just a phenomenal run. To be in 3 consecutive Stanley Cup finals and win 2 of them, crazy success they're having. I hope at South Florida you're enjoying it because it doesn't come around all that often in this league. That's for damn sure.
Yeah, really.
Yeah.
Really. I thought they would win. My only concern was that they had played so many freaking games the last couple of years that maybe they'd run out of gas. But no, they did it, and good for them. As you said, we live vicariously through the Florida Panthers. Old-time hockey, baby.
Oh, I love it. Yeah.
Oh, but we are recording. It is June 29th, the Sunday, so the first round of the NHL Draft should be ending shortly.
Right?
Right.
That didn't work. Can we throw that out? That baby out with the bathwater? God, that was awful. That whole. I was really nervous. It was like, at first it was like, okay, they're only going to maybe interview the first couple of picks, first 4 or 5 people, but they did it for every single first round selection. And it was like, oh my God, will you please wrap this up? Why does the media have to get involved in this?
I have no problem that they interview everybody. The thing is, it seemed like they weren't starting the clock for the next pick until the interviews had wrapped.
Yeah.
So it's like, all right, you Chicago, you are on the clock, 3 minutes. But those 3 minutes won't start until Michael Misa is done with 2 interviews. One in that little enclave where he's like facing the tribunal of GMs who just drafted him. And then the other one where they put his family and people weirdly standing behind the couch.
Oh, God. Yeah, exactly.
Oh, that's done? Okay, now Chicago's 3 minutes gets started.
Go figure that Boston had technical issues, too, because they basically were just standing there, like, getting frozen. I think they pulled a fast one on ESPN.
Thank you. Yeah. Thank you for drafting me. You're gonna say something? Oh, well, like I said, gosh, kind of a lot's happened since the end of the regular season. We're going to cover it all. We will be talking about the draft in the third period because we obey the laws of thermodynamics here on this program. We go chronologically. So that means in the second period, we will be talking about pre-draft things that were occurring, mainly the Trevor Zegras trade, which is a big one. But here in the first period, we are talking about the coaching change because Rick Tocchet is now the head coach of your Philadelphia Flyers. I say that he's been here for a month, but we were slacking off.
Doing other things. Yeah, exactly.
We will talk about it now.
Let's do it. Let's do it.
Matt, I think it was the emergency episode when Torts was let go that we were discussing potential coaching candidates and Rick Tocchet's name came up as a possible. I, at that point, didn't have a whole lot of interest, just based on the record I had seen in his other stops in head coaching vacancies. But what are your impressions now of the Rocket as our head coach?
Oh, I love it. One, it's great to have him back in the fold. It kind of brings back old memories when I was a wee young lad when I signed a lifetime fan contract with the Flyers at age 7, and he was on the team, and he was a dynamic player, great player, could check, could score, could fight, could do the whole Gordie Howe hat trick if he wanted to. It was that kind of a player. So that has like some good positive vibes. I was with you too, Steve. I think if I recall correctly, we were both kind of like, not really sure.
Yeah.
There might be some other candidates that are out there that might have a little bit more in the tank, so the success there. But honestly, I think the writing was on the wall. He wanted to leave Vancouver. I think he was tired of it. I think the whole thing with Elias Pettersson and JT Miller, that whole thing just kind of blew up. And it was like, what do you do in that situation, right? You have two players that are going at each other tooth and nail the entire season. He's trying his best probably to communicate and say, hey, listen, you got to let him go. You got to let this go. And they couldn't let it go. That kind of a deal. On the positive side, though, Quinn Hughes loves the guy. So it was like, we got a positive coach in that regard. He loves his players. He wants accountability. So it's like, it's Tortorella 2.0, but it's like, you're not going to have, but a much nicer Tortorella. Yeah, exactly. So I'm all for it. It was like, I think given the pool of candidates that were out there, I think he seemed to be the logical choice, I think, for the Flyers. He has the history, of course, with the organization, knows what's going on. It was very, you talk about him with his press conference, Briere, obviously he's glowing over the place. It's like, this is one of the best places to coach, and really excited about the young prospects that he has. So it'll be interesting. I think it'll be interesting to see what they do, where he does.
Yeah, I got more settled in as, Briere's press conference when they introduced Tocchet.
Mm-hmm.
He really pointed at the Arizona time. Because like I said, we were looking at, he didn't really succeed well in Tampa Bay. Arizona didn't seem record-wise like he did anything. He had the one nice year in Vancouver, but then this year things kind of fell off a cliff. And was it the goalie, that year? So, but Briere pointed to the fact that in Arizona, he had a bunch of guys that weren't expected to do anything, and he was able to get a lot out of that group, a young group, which this team is. It's a very young group, and they could use that type of guidance. I think the Tortorella kind of getting the accountability in the room and getting a good locker room is here now, and so it's up to Tocchet to kind of still hold people accountable, but be the player's advocate that he is.
Chances are,
forward.
Yeah, chances are, I don't think you're going to see many benchings going forward. I think if you are going to see something, it's going to be in-house. It will be handled in-house, not in the media. Torts sometimes would kind of sort of do, I think, in terms of, Cam York is a great example of that. He has the blow up, and then obviously it was like huge, and that was primarily solely on York, but there were underlying issues. Wasn't getting the time, wasn't, getting the ice time as much as he would have liked. So I think something like a York situation, would be, squelched under a Tocchet, where it's like, let's talk, let's figure this out. Okay, I'll put you in for some more minutes, that kind of deal. See how you do. If you don't, then don't be surprised if you don't see any more ice time, that kind of a deal. So
yeah,
we'll see.
And the other thing too is Tocchet's interviews since then. One of the fears was, well, he's trying to turn Marcus Pettersson into a dump and chase. Like, he's handicapping the skill guys. And so there was that sort of reputation following him here, deserved or not. But in the interview since, he sounds like he starts it off, well, if you look at Florida and you think, oh, God, all dump and chase. But he's like, if you look at Florida, those guys, the skill guys, they hang on to the puck. They're not just kind of getting rid of it the minute they feel pressure.
Yeah.
Which is something I think that this team was doing a lot of.
Yeah.
So I think he's willing to kind of coach the types of players they are. He just wants them to be more responsible with the puck, hold on to it, keep the play alive instead of just giving it right back to the other team. So everything I've heard him say so far, I'm starting to feel very encouraged and very optimistic about where things are going.
I think too, like if you're going to have that type of skill, like the hockey IQ has got to be a little bit more than just, okay, we're just going to just dump it in. So you want Michkov holding the puck more. You want like Garnet Hathaway to hold on to the puck down low in particular. When you're doing a dump and chase, you're fighting for the forechecks. You're getting it up out, back to the point for a shot, and then a deflection in front. You want your skill players to really hold on to the puck more and really execute more of their natural playmaking ability. Zegras is a great example of that too. We'll get to him. But I think adding Zegras to this roster, oh boy, that will be a very interesting dynamic, especially we have with Michkov. And then you have Konechny and all the cast of characters. It's gonna be interesting. It's gonna be very interesting.
To me, the dump and chase thing is all contextual.
Yeah.
Like, is the defense playing you up at the blue line in the neutral zone?
Then
Are you by yourself? Do you have somebody who, if you dump it, is going to go get it? That it doesn't make a whole lot of sense by dump and chase if you don't have the guys coming with you to chase.
Oh,
right?
yeah.
So
yeah.
I think I'm looking forward to. I think he's going to do a good job.
Yeah.
And the more I hear, the better I feel.
Yeah. I agree.
Now he'd also brought a couple of assistants with him. Yaroslav
Svechkovsky? Yeah. Svechkovsky or whatever. I think that's pretty close. I'm going to give it a shot. Why not?
I'm going to call him JS.
JS, there you
go. And he also brought Jay Verady.
Yeah.
Those guys, at least one of the two, I forget which one, is going to be in charge of the power play. So our Rocky Thompson long national nightmare is finally ended.
Now, so the question is, where do we go? Do we go from a 15% power play up to an 18% power play? Would that be considered an improvement?
Well,
one would think in terms of stats, yes, but
what was Vancouver's power play last year was like 13 or something. They were middle of the pack, which is a hell of a lot better than 30th or whatever the hell we finished at.
Yeah. No, it was pretty bad for us.
Yeah, we've got the talent to make a power play work. I don't understand. So those guys were brought in, but then on the defensive side, the team brought in Todd Reardon, who had been a defensive coach with the Pittsburgh Penguins prior to Tocchet's assistant coaching with the Penguins. But he was with the Penguins. Then he was also with the Capitals during their Stanley Cup run as the defensive coach. He eventually took over for Barry Trotz as head coach when Trotz moved on to the Fish Dicks. But
nice.
So Todd Reardon's got a good track record working with guys, Chris Letang, John Carlson, Matt Niskanen, getting a lot out of those guys. So what do you think of that hire?
I like it. I mean, I think, Brad Shaw was a tremendous defensive coach here. And I think over the last 3 or 4 years, you saw the improvements in Sanheim and York specifically, both of those two guys. Ristolainen was phenomenal. Now, all of a sudden, you bring in a Todd Reardon, who's had even more success with some of the top NHL, defensemen in the league. Sky's the limit, and especially considering the fact that Sanheim's locked up, and at the time of this recording, I think York is up for arbitration. I believe. I could be wrong on that.
Well, I saw a report earlier today that said they may be close.
Okay. To sign a deal.
Him. He is an RFA, so we're still waiting for him to sign.
Yeah.
But he should be close. But yeah, Sanheim's locked up for a long time.
I would want a Todd Reardon, to be perfectly honest with you, Steve, instead of a Brad Shaw. And I mean no disrespect to Shaw at all, because I think what he's done is terrific. He's set a foundation on defense. Now the question is, how can you grab more of that talent that's within a Sanheim, a York, a Drysdale, an Andre? All these guys that are going to be a part of your defensive core now for a while, you got to bring them up a little bit. Can Reardon do that with this core group? Time will tell, of course, but I think there's a good possibility. And I really see, if the stars are aligned right, you could really see a Sanheim and York be talked about as one of the top 2 defensive pairings in the league. I truly do believe that. They have that kind of talent to do it. Question is, what will happen? We just don't know. Incidentally, I should point out, talking about power play, Canucks 15th in the league. You were right, 22.5% power play.
I'll take 22.5%.
As opposed to 15% where we finished and we were 30th. Yeah, 22 and a half. Yeah. I mean, that will put you right into games where we were losing games a lot because of our awfulness on the power play.
Yeah.
7% improvement. I will take that. Are you kidding me? Gimme. that kind of a deal.
Absolutely. But
Yeah.
you are an Ed Reardon we trust for the defense.
I think so. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. You?
All right.
What do you think?
I mean, I like I said, he's worked with some really top names in the league on D, so I'm looking forward to it. I regretted the loss of Bradshaw. I wish he could have stayed on, but I understand. I mean, he has now moved on to be the coach,
coach
defense in the New Jersey Devils.
Yep.
Under what's his face, who used to
I don't even know.
From Toronto. What's his
Sheldon
Keefe.
Sheldon
Keefe.
Keefe. Yeah.
Sheldon Keefe. Yeah.
Yeah.
So he's under Sheldon Keefe now. So lateral move for him, but I understand why he couldn't really, he interviewed for the head job. He had the interim job. A little weird coming back, but
yeah.
So we thank Bradshaw for everything he's done, but we're looking forward to Todd Reardon. And
yeah, I think it'll be great. I think that, the entire coaching staff seems to be like, again, players friendly, right? I think that's really the goal here. Coming off of Tortorella, where everything kind of just fell apart towards the end of the year, you now have that head at the top with Tocchet. We'll see. I think it'll be good.
I think you're right. It's player friendly, but it's not an overcorrection like when the Flyers hired John Stevens after Ken Hitchcock, and the inmates were running the asylum after that.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
I think we've got a good mix this time.
Yeah, I think so.
As we move into period 2, before we get into pre-draft maneuvering, I do want to point out the reason I am not in my normal Flyers background studio is it's over there behind my bar. My bar is next to the room where the air conditioning unit is. And we are recording this in June. It is hot as balls.
Oh, yeah.
And so my air conditioner is running. And I figured you'd rather hear us talk than... So I'm doing you all a favor.
I love that. I love how you added your own sound effect. That was fantastic. Didn't even need my magic box over here. It's fantastic. I love it.
There you go.
I love it. There you go.
All right. So the big news, which came out earlier last week, I guess it is now, the Flyers acquired Trevor Zegras from the Anaheim, I almost called the Mighty Ducks, Anaheim Ducks, in exchange for, let's see, it was Ryan Poehling.
And a few draft picks.
And a couple draft picks. Yeah. Oh, 1 second rounder from this year, and then I think a 4th rounder. I don't remember which year the 4th rounder was.
Yeah, we'll throw it out there. Yep.
Yeah. Yeah. So, Trevor Zegras, you're probably going to find that episode where I trash talked him and put it up in the...
Well, we'll throw that out.
I do still stand by that. To this point in his career, he's got unbelievable skill, but he's not shown the propensity to play a 200-foot game or to get into the dirty areas, particularly the corners, for puck retrieval.
Yep.
But my main objection to acquiring him previously was the perceived cost. Because at the time we were discussing it, I was under the impression the cost to get a Trevor Zegras was something like a first-round pick, a Cam York, major pieces. This was Ryan Poehling and a couple of non-first-round picks.
A couple AHLers, Steve.
I am much more attuned to that. What was your first impressions of this trade?
Shocked, to be honest with you. I was not expecting the trade to happen, and especially of his talent and capability. He has shown flashes, no question, especially 21-22. We had 61 points in 75 games, and then 22-23 season at 65 points in 81 games. So you could definitely see, not quite point per, but he's 0.8. 0.7 points per game, which
rookie,
is like second career player. Yeah.
Michkov's rookie year, that's 60-some points.
Yeah. And you
pretty decent.
And you pair him with Michkov, and it's like, okay, now we're talking. Now it's like, we'll see. Last 2 years, though, he has been hurt. So that has a little bit of a concern. He had 57 games this last year, 32 points. So he's also, I think, playing with Cutter Gauthier, so probably that was an issue there. I'm just saying. But it's another piece of the pie that we're taking away from Anaheim. We did the same thing with Drysdale. They had a connection fit. Now they lost Drysdale. Now they've lost this guy. And now the question is, what does he do? How does he bounce back? Everything from what I understand, him and Drysdale tight. He likes Tocchet, all that kind of stuff. It's like, I think this trade does not happen. I would agree with some of the podcasts that are out there. This trade does not happen with Torts as head coach. There's no way Trevor Zegras comes here. Too. I think that was a huge factor in all this. So now that door is kind of open up, it's like, okay, now you could see a little bit of talent coming in. He's probably going to be your second line winger, I would imagine, probably along the side of Michkov, I would imagine. Or
no, they're going to try him at center.
You're going to try him at center, okay?
They have to. They lack centers, and they traded one to get him. Paling was a center, so you kind of need to play him at center.
Yeah. So I mean, potential is definitely there. Now the question is, like I said, it's all on him to make that potential into reality.
Absolutely.
Last 2 years have been hurt, and that concerns me a little bit. I don't want him missing, more than half the season. That's not what we had traded him for, to do, and especially to give up 2 additional picks. To your point, though, I'm really glad we kept our 3 first-rounders. I mean, it proved later in the draft. We'll talk about that in the third period, but to hold on to the top 3 first-round picks and not having to give them up and only give them a second, all in favor. Give him a shot. See what happens. Kid could show that he could score and play. I'm all in favor of this. Steve, what do you think?
Yeah, it's not a high risk because he's only got 1 year left on his contract. Mm-hmm. If things don't work out this year, you could move his rights before, because he's still going to be an RFA, and get something back for him. But if it pans out, you've fixed getting some more high-end skill at the top of your lineup. Mm-hmm. So I think it's definitely worthwhile and an exciting opportunity for the team to try and get a little better and actually score some goals. Mm-hmm.
Which we
get some offense going.
Desperately need. Yeah, exactly.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Now, one of the other things that was going on the last few weeks were rumors of a KHL player whose name has come up, Max Zhabanov. And the only thing I've seen from him is when he does this little spin around move to split 2 defenders and comes out with the puck somehow after going through his skates as he's spinning. Very crazy. Supposedly very highly skilled, but I believe height is a little bit of an issue. 5'8", if I'm recalling. So a little on the teeny weeny side.
Yeah, just a little bit. Yeah. Yeah.
But the rumors are he is coming to North America to play in the NHL. It's only going to cost you a 1-year deal. The rumors are he has interest in the Flyers. The Flyers have interest in him.
He's played with Michkov in the past. Yeah.
Some insiders are saying it is likely to happen that he's going to sign here. What's your excitement level?
He's 5'8", 157 build. That has my concern.
I haven't weighed that little since like 9th grade.
Yeah.
Wow.
And he is 24. He's 5'8", 157.
No wonder the Flyers hired that MMA guy to teach people how to fight.
Yeah. Now, in the KHL, second best league in the world, 65 games, 67 points. So more than a point per. Mm-hmm. So there's potential, I think. But again, he's 5'8". I just want the audience to know this. 5'8", 157. That is very, very unusual. And if the rumors are true, if they are going to try and sign him, it's a good thing we drafted a lot of big guys in this draft, which again we'll cover in the third.
What was that guy in Buffalo who was like 4 feet tall, but he was shaped like a bowling ball?
Oh, yeah. It was way back when you and I were playing, I think in the 90s, wasn't it?
No. This was like, I don't know, 10 years ago.
Oh, 10 years ago? Okay.
Yeah, he was really short, but he was built like a bowling ball, so he was at least stocky.
Yeah.
He had some heft to him, but yeah, I can't remember. But I'm just picturing that. So to me, if it's a 1-year deal,
you take a flyer?
Why not? You're not winning a cup this year. Right?
Right.
See what he's got.
Oh, did you hear that? We're not winning a cup this year? We're putting it down right now. Anyway. Putting it down right now.
I didn't say anything about playoffs.
Yeah.
I just said I seriously doubt we're winning a cup. Because we'll get to the third thing in a second. But if it's still a year about finding out, right? Mm-hmm. So you're going to find out about Zegras You're going to find out about some other guys that you could potentially going to bring in. Why not bring this guy in, give him a shot, see what he's got? He's young. He would fit the timeline. If he comes in, has a banner year, you sign him for a few more years. And he fits the timeline, so he'll be in his prime while we're trying to reach that, level of team where we're competitive every year. Who knows?
Who knows? But the thing is, he's 5'8" and he's 157, Steve. I mean, I don't know what you would have to do. You'd have to eat a ton of creatine and a lot of protein in order to get that build weight up to 175. I'd be more comfortable, I think, if he was 175. 5'8" doesn't matter to me, as long as you can fly on skates. But the fact that he's 157, I mean, he's going to get killed. One hit and he's dead. I mean, that's the one thing that I worry about with him. But his talent is phenomenal. I mean, playing the KHL is no joke. And like I said, point per in this last game. And I think it's wise. Give it a shot, see what happens.
Give it a shot. But he playing in the KHL, it's a bigger rink. And guys don't slam each other
That's
around.
Why I worried.
There, so
that's why I worried.
I know.
Yeah.
But the reason I said we're not winning a cup this year, we still have a bit of a goalie situation to figure out. And things have not crystallized themselves in the last few weeks either. So we don't really have any answers on that front. We are still looking at Sam Harrison. Ivan Fedotov is still here.
Yeah.
Alexei Kolosov
I think he
exists.
He might be in witness protection. Who knows? Who knows?
Who knows what's going to become of him?
Yeah.
So we're still waiting to find that out. And there's been John Gibson was traded at the draft. So he is no longer an option.
Yeah.
Not that I was high on Gibson anyway, but a couple other potential free agents, goalies have also re-signed with their teams. The guy with the Blues, Hoffer, re-signed, so he's not going to be an option. So the opportunities are dwindling.
Yeah.
And I don't know what our goalies are going to look like next year.
Yeah. There's talk though that the pipeline's pretty good, in the upper, in the minor leagues for the Flyers. So
yeah, but they're not coming next year.
Right.
They're not coming up next year.
It's going to be Urson and Fedotov, and then the question is, well, we'll see. But who knows? I mean, I'm nervous too. I'm nervous about the goaltending situation. I guess we'll get to that when we do our season preview down the road, of course. But yeah, we'll see.
And we come to the third period. Now we're getting to the draft recap.
Oh, yeah.
The New York Fish Dicks somehow moved up 10 spots to number 1 and selected Matthew Schaefer.
They paid Gary Bettman 20, maybe. I don't know.
Oh, yeah. Oh, it wasn't Kathy Hochul wrote a letter or something?
Yeah.
Oh, the Islanders magically get the number 1 pick.
What a shock, yeah.
Just like the Dallas Mavericks magically got the number 1 pick after trading Luka Doncic.
Yeah, accidentally trading Luka. Yeah, exactly.
Right.
Yeah.
Find out how that works. All right, well, the Philadelphia Flyers, who should have been in the 4th position, that we hadn't talked about this since our last episode, ended up in the lottery dropping to 6, which is some bullshit. But you got to make the most of it. And as it turned out, I think we did.
I think we did too. Yeah.
6th overall pick, winger Porter Martone falls to us.
Yeah.
And as you'll see, a pattern developing with these picks. We drafted some POUSs, or players of unusual size.
We went a little...
Yeah, we overcompensated for Max Zhabanov is what we did.
Right? I mean, good Lord almighty. Jeez.
So, yeah, Porter Martone was the pick at 6. What was your first thoughts when they took him?
I love it. 6'3", 208. I mean, my God. Number 1, you got the size and the frame, and he can skate. He's a little bit... I should hold my horses on that, actually. He's kind of a slow developing skater. That boy, though, he's got a rocket of a shot, and he can pass the puck, and he can find the open guy. Steve, I love this pick. I absolutely love this pick. And the fact that he fell to us in that section, it was like, we got our winger of the future. You pair him with Forster, look out. I mean, the goalies are going to have to duck for cover if they put it on net. Good Lord. I love it. I think it's a great pick. Everything from I've seen about this guy and watched his highlights, you could just tell his skill level, particularly holding on to the puck and carrying it up the zone, which again, I think when we were talking about earlier in this episode, dumping and chasing versus holding on, having the hockey IQ to hold on to that puck. This guy can hold on to the puck and hold on to it for a while and get guys open and can make good plays within the offensive zone. I like him. Now, I think defensively, we'll have to see like what he does there. But from an offensive standpoint, you're just like, let's go. Let's pile up those goals in there, man. Let's go.
He is certainly, I think, of all of the kind of top first round picks in this draft, probably the closest to being ready to go.
Yeah.
Now, it doesn't guarantee he's going to be on the team come game one. But he did play in the World Championships, not World Junior. Well, he may have played in the World Juniors, but he actually played in the World Championships this past spring on a team where everybody else was NHLers. I mean, he was with Crosby and McKinnon. They thought highly enough of him, even at his young age, to bring him in onto Team Canada.
18 years old. It's amazing to have that kind of talent at 18. I couldn't even get out of bed at 18 because I liked that bed so much. This guy's out there skating all over the place. It's awesome. I love it.
Yeah. So I know he's not a center, so a lot of people were bummed about that, and some people were bummed they didn't take James Higgins with the pick.
What do you think about what do you think about that? The fact that they went with a winger. I mean, I think Briere said best available, and they went best available, no question, with this guy. I think he was best available.
I think so too. And if you take the best available, even though he's a wing, you take him.
Yeah.
So that's fine. The Nashville Predators picked before us, and they took Brady Martin, who I had heard the Flyers were interested in, but I also heard not good things about him. Like he's probably not going to stay at center. He does a little too much running around and hitting people. So when Nashville took him, I was like, oh, good. So we have
kind of like that's off the table. Yeah.
Yeah. Like we can't even shoot ourselves in the foot. So it's Martone or Higgins. And we took Martone, and I couldn't be happier.
Yeah.
So we'll look forward to seeing that. Him in training camp, possibly. And if he shows something, maybe he's on the team.
Maybe he suits up. Who knows? Maybe third, fourth line. You never know. So
no, they wouldn't give him third, fourth line.
No, I'm just joking.
They're only going to keep him if he's
he's a contributing factor.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. All right. So then the Flyers also had picks number 22 and 31, courtesy of the Colorado Avalanche and the Edmonton Oilers. Edmonton, if you were going to lose, you couldn't have done so a little earlier just to give us a higher.
A little bit, yeah.
I mean, no favors. That's one of the reasons I was glad the Florida Panthers won.
But what I did love about the draft is that Chris Letang's son hit the red button, and it almost self-destructed the Penguins. It was terrific. I was surprised that the Flyers traded with Pittsburgh. Stunned by this. I was like, wait, what? How is this even possible that we move up to 12 and we get Jack Nesbitt? I was stunned by the trade. I didn't expect the Flyers and Penguins to make a trade in that regard, being that this hated division rival. Steve, your thoughts there? What do you think?
It doesn't surprise me because Kyle Dubas is an idiot. And here's a fun fact for you.
I love it.
I learned this on Facebook last week, and because I do my due diligence, I double-checked it.
There you
I
go.
went to Elite Prospects and looked at the 2020 draft. Kyle Dubas made 12 selections in Toronto's 2020 draft. And those 12 selections have played a grand total of 0 NHL minutes. 0.
Wow. How is that guy employed? Good Lord almighty. He's worse than
That's
Extol.
what I'd like to know.
Yeah, exactly.
Right?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So anyway, yes, Jack Nesbitt, never heard of him, don't know anything about him. He's a huge dude, 6 foot. I hear 4, I hear 5.
Yeah. Pull it up here real
I
quick.
prefer 5 because 6'5" sounds cooler.
Yeah.
Now you're talking Keith Primo size.
Yeah. I mean, and it gets
big. Look, I remember years ago.
6'5", 185.
Yeah.
So you add 15 pounds to that. Good Lord.
Oh,
Watch
hell
out.
yeah.
Watch out. Yeah.
I remember years ago sitting watching the Flyers play the Anaheim Ducks. And this, I think this would have been like 2011, 2012-ish time frame.
Mm-hmm.
And I was at the game, and I come away with Anaheim's throwing Ryan Getzlaf out there at center. They're throwing the other Ryan Kessler out there.
Yeah. Big.
And we've got Claude Giroux. I think Danny Briere was still on the team.
Yeah.
And I came out of that game thinking, my God, we are small at center.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it's nice to get big.
Oh yeah.
So we'll see. I mean, there a lot of they picked Nesbitt, and you heard a lot of testicular ruptures occurring online. Just testicular ruptures.
Yeah.
Because people didn't take who they wanted.
Yeah.
You had, be honest, people, you haven't watched a single minute of tape on any of those people they would have taken. Okay.
Yeah.
And we haven't either.
You got a guy who is 6'5". I want to point, I mean, that's so important. I think down the road, he adds 15, 20 pounds. You've got a guy 6'5", 200 pounds. Now, he's not Lindros. I'm not comparing him to that. But you got a guy that, you know what? He's going to be hard to kind of get off the slot, and especially when you got him parked in front of your power play.
Oh, sure.
And he could deflect pucks. Look out. That guy's going to be hard to move. He just needs to bulk up.
Learn to skate a little bit.
Learn how to skate. Yeah, exactly.
He reminds me the one knock on him.
The one thing that reminds me so much is like Alex Page. Alex Page is one of our good buddies. And Alex is one of those tall, big, lanky guys, but he is so strong. He's like, you cannot get him off the puck. You know, if you got him parked in front, right? I mean, come on, let's go. But no, it's
Alex Page catching strays on a flyer.
We love you, Doc. Come on.
Poor
I love you. I'm just joking with you, of course.
Yeah, the one knock on is his skating. So if he can improve that, Tyson Forster couldn't skate when he got here. So, work with it.
Absolutely.
Good.
Keep going.
All right. So that we get to the second round. We had 3 picks. We made a trade with Seattle to go back from 34 to 36, and we picked up an extra one. We got out of the third round, so we had 4 second-round picks.
Wild.
With those, we took 2 guys off of the U.S. national development team. That's Carter Amico and Jack Murtagh.
Yeah.
Shane Van Sage, I believe, was a U.S. national team before, but last year he spent at Michigan State, I believe. And then Matthew Gard was the 4th and final pick in the second round. Carter Amico, 6'6", did I see?
Yeah. This guy
Holy crap.
Another 6'5", 225. He is 18 years old. At 6'5", 225. So the guys that they're drafting, and it was so funny because it's like, they get Porter in the first round, and it's like, you notice his size, 6'3", 200. Then you get a Nesbitt, 6'5", 185, probably could go up to 200. Then you get Amico in the second round, 6'5", 225. And it's like the narrative starts to fill in the sports talk world. They're getting bigger. They're getting bigger.
You know what? It's a good thing that it was a, what do you call it, spread out draft, decentralized draft.
Yeah.
Because can you imagine Danny having to go up, shake these guys' hands? Like,
you're like this, right?
Welcome to the Flyers.
Yeah, it's like he breaks your hand, right? It's like, good Lord. 6'5", 225. At 18, he's 6. It's unbelievable. Now, I mean, right-handed shot. So, I mean, they don't grow on trees. I mean, it's like, they are very rare in the NHL, even though we grew up shooting right-handed here.
Well, that's because we learned the wrong way.
Because we always thought left-handed. It's like, well, that's ridiculous. My right-hand shot is like strong.
I'm right-handed. Why would I play left-handed?
Well, I had to play left-handed. Then you realize, oh, wait a minute, that's where you direct it. Yeah, that kind of a deal. Whoops. But yeah, it's huge. It's no pun intended there. It's a big. Damn it! It's a great pick. I like it. It's like you got back end talent, and I think that, it might. With Emil Andre, he's a diminutive guy on defense. You wonder what's going to happen with him now, especially you have Amico in the lineup potentially down the road. We'll see.
We got a lot of small guys we got to figure out what to do with.
Exactly. Yeah. It'd be interesting, but
it's nice to have some size.
Did it surprise you though that they made all the picks? Because I know that was We were talking about this.
Well, I mean, they had 7 in the first 2 rounds when they started. They used one of the first rounders to move up for Nesbitt. They traded one of the second rounders for Zegras. So they only made 6 picks out of 7, which is fine because they would have had a 3rd round pick, but that 3rd round pick basically became a 2nd round pick. So I'm not surprised that they made 6 picks in the first 2 because it's better because you would have probably made 6 picks anyway, spread out, through 1 through 4.
Yeah.
They didn't have a 3rd or a 4th round pick. So
Yeah.
you took 6 in the top, 60 something?
Something? Yeah.
I'll take that.
Yeah. Volume of, all within that top 60. You're right. So
You're going to take
one every 6 picks. It's not bad.
you're taking that many in a draft anyway. It's nice to have them all kind of at the top heavy instead of taking. Speaking of later rounds, Max Westergaard, Luke Vluswick, and Nathan Quinn.
What a great name!
Rounded out the
Luke Vluswick. Yeah, love it.
Yeah, but the guy taken after him had the best. It was Mons Goose or something like that.
It's even better.
Goalie for Dallas now.
Oh,
but,
wow. Oh, geez.
Yeah, so these guys were 5th and 6th round picks. I don't know anything about them. You don't know anything about them. Go F yourself.
Yeah, we'll see.
We'll see. Look, we're not poo-pooing these guys.
Yeah.
Right. Sometimes a 6th, 7th round pick can turn into something amazing. They showed on NHL Network some guys who are, but
you roll the dice.
You're not going to know.
Happens.
Yeah, you're not going to know for a couple years. These guys,
yeah,
they'll be at development camp next week, and we'll see how they look in a couple years. I guess nobody in this draft other than Martone is likely to show up this year.
Do you think Martone makes the team if you had to handicap it?
I would say he's got a decent shot because of the fact he's already shown through the World Championships that he can play with men.
You'd see what he does in October.
He's got a better shot than I would say somebody like James Higgins would have had. Not that that's a reason to take one over the other, but I think Martone is more NHL ready than anybody else in that range.
Yeah.
So he could. I'm not expecting it, but you never know.
It could be like a Luchenko situation early in October. We
they give him a look.
And you give him a look and you see what happens. And, maybe you roll the dice with him in the first month of October, see what he does in the first 5, 6, 7 games and say, okay, well, we need you in the, in your farm system or whatever. You go back to the OHL, you play there for a year, you come back, you're ready to go at that point. I think you're right. I think he is the most NHL ready of all the draft picks that we've done. I think Nesbitt will stay behind, and I think all the others.
Oh, yeah.
Amico, I'd be curious about Amico. I don't know how you look at him and say, okay, you're 6'5", 225. Maybe you give him a look. Maybe.
He doesn't. He's a defenseman, though. That's
the thing.
Defensemen take a lot longer to be, and you don't want to rush those guys.
Yeah.
You don't want to
throw them into the fires just so quickly. Yeah.
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 I often wonder because when Ivan Provorov was taken, they were talking about him like he could be a Chris Pronger level kind of number 1 D man. And maybe he was brought in to the team too early and they rushed his development.
I think so. Yeah.
I don't know.
It certainly showed in the first, month and a half. Well, he really struggled. I remember watching him. It was like, oh man, he fell tripping him back, over himself in Chicago.
I thought it was Pittsburgh.
Or Pittsburgh. Yeah, it was one of the two. Yeah. But it's like, you feel for him because it's like you got to pick yourself up in front of 18,000 people. And it's like, great. Okay. Yeah. That's terrible.
So Amico's body might be ready, but I don't think his game, he needs time just as a defenseman to work it out.
Yeah.
So I wouldn't think he's going to be seen anyway. But I know you did have a concern about the draft.
I guess to close this out, we didn't draft a goaltender, and we are now stuck with seemingly the same duo that we had this last year, Mr. Murray, and I am worried. I'm really worried about this. To your point, there wasn't much in the way of free agency. Don't know if the Flyers are going to sign anybody. We'll see. Next week,
I think they have to. They absolutely have to.
They got to figure something out at this point.
Yes.
But I'm a little concerned they did not draft a goaltender. Now, maybe there wasn't any that they picked, they weren't happy with. at the combine. Who the heck knows? But
they weren't drafting anybody who was going to come in this year. So
Correct.
I'm not as concerned about it from that perspective. But they haven't drafted a goalie since 2 years ago. They didn't draft one last year. They didn't draft one this year. So the pipeline is, I don't want to say bare because they have a fair number of prospects in it. But I don't think you have as much depth as you might like.
Yeah.
And, the more people you have in the pipeline, the better chance you have that one of them ends up working out. I think this year, it looked to me, there weren't many goalies that were talked about kind of who were interesting. And if you look at where those goalies were picked, there were actually 2 taken in the first round, which was a little unexpected. Though everything I had heard, there was one guy, Ravens, Schmitty Werben Jagerman Jensen, whatever his name was. He was the only one who was like considered to be possibly taken in the first round. He eventually was, but there was somebody actually taken before him.
Oh, wow.
So 2 goalies were taken in the first round, which I don't think the Flyers were going to do anyway, even if they kept all their picks where they were.
Yeah.
And then a couple of the other goalies were picked before Flyer picks. So I kind of think that just the guys that were there were gone and they weren't worth
the further investigation. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So, yeah, you're right. I mean, and then, you're talking about goaltenders here, 18, 19 years old, and hey, we need you to be the savior. Well, calm down. And I would love to say this too. I completely agree with you. Whether or not Carter Hart is totally exonerated, he's not coming. Like he's done officially.
No way.
Flyers aren't going to re-sign him. Flyers aren't going to try and woo him back in. Like he's officially done skis. Like he's done. Which is a shame. It's a killer, but at the same time, it's like you shouldn't have been in the room to begin with, man. You know what I mean? Like you made a choice, you got to live with it, and now it's like for him to come back. That's the thing. He's been out for almost a year, more than a year now.
Yeah,
and for him to try and come back. Think about that. That's brutal. That's not easy to do.
He'll sign with Edmonton. They're in need.
Speaking of goaltending problems, my God, what on earth was Stuart Skinner doing? Like,
what on that third goal?
Yeah.
Oh, whew.
Like, how do you not catch that? I mean, it's doink. What the hell are you doing?
Right to Barkov of all people.
Lands right on his stick. Thank you very much. I'll just put it past you. I mean, give me a break with that. Oh, my goodness. That's why I love teasing the Canadian teams all the time. You're never going to win a Stanley Cup. Never.
That's going to make sure of it. All right. Well, we have, as of our recording, free agency July 1st is yet to start. So we have that to look forward to. If interesting things occur, we probably will do a follow-up episode.
Yeah.
But if not, we'll probably only do emergencies until we get to training camp, and then we'll see where that goes from there. But for now, that wraps up this episode, this post-draft, pre-free agency episode of Men in Orange and Black. We will see you when we see you, and that is, I don't know. Follow us on Facebook and Twitter. I created a Twitter page.
There you go.
We'll let you know when we're thinking about popping back in here and talking about
like, share, and subscribe, and comment down below. We want to hear from you.
Yes.
Yeah. Hell yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Like I commented on Snow the Goalie.
Yeah.
Twice.
Yeah.
And they read it.
Yeah.
And they read it. It was awesome.
I love it. There you go.
Because of Gritty.
Always about Gritty.
That's what we forgot to mention about Nesbitt. He said, Philadelphia is the better sports city in Pennsylvania.
Yeah,
so
man.
Take that to the bank.
There you go.
All right. Well, we will see you when we see you next time, which was undetermined. But until then, take care, everyone.